Imagine waking up one day to find that everything you said online is being watched, filtered, and controlled. That your words could get you in trouble, not because they are false, but because they make someone uncomfortable. Sounds like a dystopia movie, right? But what if I told you it is already happening? In a country where daily reports of heinous crimes like rapes and murders flood the news, and where Indian immigrants are being deported from America in handcuffs as they were terrorists or rapists.
हाथों में भी हथकड़ियां थी, पैरों में भी बेड़ियां।
हाँ
कैसे थी वो चेन? आप कहते पीठ से डाली हुई थी?
हाँ जी, ऐसे डाल के मतलब कि हाथ बांध दिए।
पर यहाँ पे तो कल उन्होंने बोला कुछ कि नहीं, वो बेड़ियां वगैरह नहीं थी, कुछ ऐसा
मतलब कि जब फ्लाइट लैंड होने वाली थी ना 10 मिनट में, मतलब कि उसने पहले मतलब कि सब कुछ खोल के मतलब कि छुपा दिया।
One who expects our media and government to focus on such pressing issues. Instead, our attention is diverted to the expression of comedians.
मैं कहा कि अगर मैं शक्तिमान होता तो मैं उठा के उसको अंतरिक्ष में फेंक देता।
Is Indian government and so-called fourth pillar of democracy, the media, truly this misguided, or is there a deeper agenda at play? This is the digital voice revolution. We all know what happened. Samay and Ranveer's controversy made the waves across the internet. FIRs, legal notices, videos been taken down. But was it really about a joke, or was it about silencing voices?
Now, press freedom is in crisis in India. The world's largest democracy is one of the worst countries for journalism, according to the advocacy group Reporters Without Borders. Now, a new documentary is focusing on violence against journalists and politically partisan media.
रवीश कुमार को मैं चेतावनी देता हूँ। आपको ऐसा हिंदुस्तान चाहिए था?
मुझे छोड़ देना चाहिए।
सर, सरकारें जैसे ही बताएगी वैसे ही खबरें करनी है।
हम भी यही सोच रहे हैं।
दुनिया का एक देश बता दीजिए जहाँ के टीवी पर इतनी नफरत हो। कौन है देशद्रोही यहाँ पर? इस देश में कोई देशद्रोही नहीं है। हम जब भी चुप रहेंगे, सत्य से भागते हुए रहेंगे।
And now, history is repeating itself. Kunal Kamra's stand-up comedy show was cancelled by multiple venues, allegedly due to political pressure. The controversy escalated when Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis openly criticized Kamra, and Deputy Chief Minister Shinde's supporter or gangster vandalized the venue. Now legal action is being considered against Kunal. But let's ask ourselves, what was his crime? Making jokes about people who is in power? Expressing his views through a satire? This isn't about whether you like Kunal's comedy or not. The real question is, should comedians be punished just for making people think? If a stand-up show could be shut down due to political pressure today, what's stopping this from happening to independent journalists who expose uncomfortable truth, YouTubers who can challenge mainstream media narratives, ordinary citizens who express dissent online? Why should this not be a big deal? Because comedy has always been about questioning society, challenging authority, and making people reflective on uncomfortable truths. If political figures start deciding what jokes are acceptable, we are heading towards a future where humor is censored and freedom of speech is a privilege, not a right.
जो स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियंस को एक सॉर्ट ऑफ इंटिमिडेट किया जा रहा है, थ्रेटन किया जा रहा है, एक डर का माहौल जो बन गया है कि अब आप खुलेआम एक जोक भी नहीं बना पाओगे। आपको क्या लगता है ये सही है कि
नहीं? मैम, हमारे डेमोक्रेसी के हिसाब से तो सही नहीं है मैम। इतनी तो लिबर्टी होनी चाहिए कि आप कुछ ऐसा बोल पाओ जो पब्लिक को इन जनरल एक्सेप्टेबल हो। मैम, कुणाल कामरा ने अपने मन से नहीं बोला वो चीज़ें मैम, वो पब्लिक के मन में पहले से हैं कि देश के हालात क्या चल रहे हैं।
It's a matter of great concern that the world's largest democracy, India, finds itself falling on press freedom rankings year after year. We like to pretend we don't care, but we do.
Where Ekta Kapoor is getting a Padma Shri when she is known for producing shows with a questionable content, often considered for being a soft porn. Meanwhile, comedians like Kunal Kamra, who use humor to address important social issues, are facing FIRs and legal action. Isn't it strange that we are arresting comedians for speaking up their mind, but celebrating who create low-grade and controversial content? When Bollywood actors use abusive language and promote violence in films, it's considered as entertainment. But When comedians use satire or jokes, it suddenly becomes a crime. This double standard makes us question what is really being supported and what we are pushing. Humor has always been a powerful tool. It questions, it provokes thought, it brings light to an issue that people might ignore. The moment we start censoring humor, we are not just banning jokes, we are banning truth. Think about it. Why do political leaders fear stand-up comedians more than they fear the charges of corruption? Why do government feel that need to regulate content creators when mainstream media is already controlled? Because digital platform gave ordinary people the power to ask authority, and now those who are in the power wants to take that away. Freedom of speech is not just for politicians. It is for all of us.
The newly proposed Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill 2024 raises several questions on the freedom of speech and expression and the government's powers to regulate digital content in India.
I completely agree that news can be misused. It could create law and order problems, and there should be a set of guidelines for people who are doing news on social media. Completely understand that. But why were the wordings left so convoluted? Why is it that it has been left so open-ended that anybody who is a commentator, who makes a video on published information also is liable to these rules and regulations? So it is about controlling the narrative of what people are talking about.
They want to make regulation mandatory for content creators, control what content is allowed and what should be get removed, introduce penalties for content that questions authority.
नमस्कार, मैं रवीश कुमार। 250 करोड़ 500 करोड़ का जुर्माना लगाने का आइडिया कौन सोच सकता है? भारत सरकार डिजिटल पर्सनल डेटा प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट डीपीडीपी के नियम लागू करने वाली है और इन नियमों के अनुसार बताया जा रहा है कि किसी पत्रकार या किसी संगठन के लिए बिना अनुमति के किसी का भी नाम, किसी की पर्सनल जानकारी छापना उसे बर्बाद कर सकता है, क्योंकि इस मामले में 250 करोड़ का जुर्माना रखा गया है और नहीं देने पर इसे बढ़ाकर 500 करोड़ कर दिया जाएगा। नागरिक अधिकारों के लिए काम करने वाले 30 से अधिक संगठनों का मानना है कि अगर डीपीडीपी एक्ट के ये नियम लागू हो गए तो यूट्यूबर के लिए भी किसी का नाम लेकर बोलना या लिखना मुश्किल हो जाएगा।
In simple terms, if this law passes, creators like Dhruv Rathi, Nitish Rajput, KK Create, Niharika Chauhan, and countless other creators will not be able to share their opinions. They will be on eggshells, fearing the legal consequences for speaking the truth. This isn't the first time when government has tried to silence dissent. Throughout the history, regimes has used media laws to shape public perception. Emergency period, the Indian government imposed strict press censorship, limiting criticism. China's Great Firewall, digital censorship control what citizen can access online. Russia's crackdown on independent media, laws were passed to silence opposition voices.
Opposition politician Yulia Galyamina is more optimistic about the future, even if many of her colleagues have been forced to leave Russia in recent months. She's pouring her energy into campaigning and talking to voters.
If you write about politics and do investigations, you won't have a future here. You'll either be arrested or declared a foreign agent or expelled from the country. It's completely clear that there's no future here. Journalism in Russia is over.
This historical precedent shows a pattern. Media regulation is often a tool of control rather than protection. After controversy, several politicians, especially from ruling party, raised the concern in parliament about the lack of regulation on digital content creators, especially on platforms like YouTube.
Say, and I'm sure you'd agree, the media's changed transformationally in the last few years, and so much of it now is being done online, not by the old media groups such as yours, but by individuals who have massive followings on platforms like YouTube. And the truth is that there, India isn't stopping critical voices, some of whom, like Ravish Kumar, now have 10 million and more subscribers on YouTube. So where's the repression there?
They are trying to stop that. They're struggling to see what can be done there. the new broadcast services bill was introduced. There was opposition, so it's been referred to a committee.
The Draft Broadcasting Services Regulation Bill 2024 aimed to bring digital content creators, including YouTubers and independent journalists, under the same legal framework as TV broadcasters.
Anything that questions the government's policies or anything against Prime Minister Modi is seen as unacceptable, and they invoke laws which make it cases and have filed cases which make it impossible for you to get, or very, very difficult to get bail. But sometimes the high courts give relief. That's the bright side. Unexpectedly, even in Gujarat or in Kashmir, journalists have been released unexpectedly.
Basically, content that aligns with government views could be promoted, while critical or opposing content could face restrictions, fines, or even legal action.
But let's talk about the mindset of journalists today and the degree to which there is now a fear in some journalists' minds about speaking truth to power, confronting power in different forms in India. A while ago on Hard Talk, I spoke to Raina, a young woman journalist in this country who, going back years, has tried to tell stories, uncover truths about Mr. Modi's past in Gujarat, amongst many other things. She is currently facing a series of court challenges. She has faced online intimidation, including use of fake pornography and other things. She says that, quote, journalism in India is under assault. Do you believe that is true?
That's absolutely true.
How wonder, this reminds me of the great Sahadat Hasan Mantu, who faced criticism in his time but never stopped speaking the truth. Once he said,
आपको मेरा अफसाना पसंद आए या ना आए, इसका फैसला आप कर ले। मेरी कहानी मेरी दूसरी कहानी के पाए की है या नहीं, इस पे बहस लिटरेरी क्रिटिक्स कर लें, लेकिन अदब यानी लिटरेचर हरगिज फहश नहीं हो सकता।
Why these should not be applied? If these laws are enforced, they can cause serious problems like loss of free speech. Digital platforms have given everyone a chance to share their thoughts and ideas. Strict rules could limit this freedom, making sure that only few approved voices are heard. Fear of speaking freely. Many creators might stop talking about important but sensitive information because they fear punishment. This means audience will miss out on difficult viewpoints and real discussions. Also, too many regulations and barriers. If content creators must register and follow government guidelines, many new and independent creators might find it too difficult to start or continue making content. This could kill creativity and innovation in the digital world. How other countries handle free speech. Different democracies regulate speech differently. Some protect it while others suppress dissent. US, the First Amendment, guarantees free speech even when it is controversial. Comedians or journalists openly criticize leaders without fearing of arrests. Sometimes India struggles with this. Germany, stricter hate speech laws exist, but media remains independent. The Nazi DG law requires social media to remove illegal hate speeches, yet political criticism isn't criminalized. Turkey, a warning against over-regulation. Social media is heavily censored, journalists and YouTubers are jailed, and tech companies are forced to remove offensive content under the vague rules. Where do India stand? Will we uphold democracy like US and Germany, or we are sliding towards Turkey's path of government-controlled speech?
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
Questioning leaders and analyzing their decisions is crucial, but choosing them wisely matters even more. The leaders we elect shape policies, freedoms, and our future. If we choose poorly, we risk losing the very right to question. And remember, once freedom of speech is lost, it rarely ever comes back. If you want to know how great diplomats and historians have guided people in choosing strong leaders, let me know in the comment.